would be that no matter what you say, you follow all of the parenting rules and all of the parenting tips, and your children will go out there and still do something stupid. The most that you can do is teach them responsibility.
Parents were engaged all throughout November in sessions like that one to help them build the skills they need to raise a generation of productive Jamaicans. On today's edition of Jamaica Magazine, we sit down with the head of the National Parenting Support Commission, Dr. Patrice Charles, as Parent Month comes to a close. We're looking also at some important road improvements. It's another information edition of Jamaica Magazine.
The Ebola virus is transmitted through direct contact with an infected person's blood or other bodily fluids like saliva, urine, stool, and semen. Symptoms of Ebola include sudden fever, intense weakness, muscle pain, headache, and sore throat. This may be followed by vomiting, diarrhea, and rash, and in some cases both internal and external bleeding, leading to death. Protect yourself. Avoid travel to Ebola-affected countries. Avoid contact with infected persons. Don't touch the body of someone who has died from Ebola. Wash hands frequently with soap and water and use an alcohol-based hand sanitizer. To know more, call 1-888-663-5683.
Building circles of involvement. That was the central focus of Parent Month 2014. All through November, parents and caregivers were given tips on raising productive, emotionally intelligent children. As Parent Month closes off, Executive Director of the National Parenting Support Commission, Dr. Patrice Charles, talks about government's role in providing assistance for parents.
Thanks for joining us for another edition of Issues and Answers. I'm Ian Boyne. It's Parents Month, and we have with us the CEO of the National Parenting Support Commission, Dr. Patrice Charles. We want to talk about the critical issues that affect you and your family, the issues that affect you and your children. A number of you have concerns about your children, and some of your children have concerns about you. We want to talk about how the National Parenting Support Commission supports you. Dr. Charles, good to have you on the show.
Thank you for
National Parenting Support Commission. What is the overarching rationale of this commission, and how have you been carrying out your work in the last year?
Well, it's been an awesome task to do what we are doing now. Our main goal to help parents, to support parents to transform their families. And we want to do this, and we have been doing it through providing education, parenting skills necessary for them to transform their families, helping them through resources, making them more aware, providing quality information that's needed, and just basic support and listening ear.
Yes. How you do that? You go into communities, you hold community meetings, you go into schools. And do you offer individual counseling?
All of that. It's a national commission, so we're not stationed in one area. We're not just in region one of the educational region. We're island-wide. And yes, we do. We go into communities. We go into schools. We work with the PTAs. We work with community leaders, SDC. We work with different government organizations.
Sorry, so someone from a community can call your commission and say, you know, we want to organize a meeting, we want you to come and address us.
Yes, and that's been happening. That's been happening. That's definitely been happening. We'll have community leaders, we'll have concerned citizens saying that this is happening in my community. Can you come in? We've had a complaint from one of the communities that there's a prevalence, an increase in the prevalence of teenage pregnancies, and that girls are, it's like a fad in the area.
To get pregnant.
Can you come in? You know, we've had concerns of suicide in another area, so we went into that area. And it's been very interesting because since I've been appointed last year, June, there's been a growing need for the commission, and we've been called upon more and more.
Tell us some of the things you have done
in
the last year, some of the things you've done, some of the things you've accomplished.
We've done 2 community forums, one in Halfway Tree, one in St. Thomas, on popular issues, beating, corporal punishment.
Yes.
You know, we have a culture of corporal punishment.
Of course.
And what I'm trying to get parents to understand is that if you're constantly beating your child and you don't see a change in the behavior, then you as the parent, you need to change the formula in order to get a different result. In St. Thomas, we spoke about the parent-child relationship. It was a 2-part forum. In the first half, we spoke to students from various high schools and primary schools. And then in the second half, we spoke to the parents, and we let the parents know what the children are saying about them and how they relate to them and how you could improve the relationship. And that turned out very well. So apart from the community forums, we've had parenting information fairs where we invited all of the different parenting stakeholders and government agencies and some of the even private sector organizations, NGOs, to come in and give support, lend support to parents by providing quality information. We have launched our first parent club, the Central Village chapter. And this is something that I'm very excited about because, you know, you have PTAs under the National Parent Teachers Association of Jamaica. But now we're going to be launching parent clubs all over the island.
Tell us how that works.
Whether in church, in communities, in schools. And the parent clubs, really, these are individuals that are going to be trained, most of them as parent mentors. And they're going to be basically the voice of the commission in the community. Sustainability is very important. Sustainability of providing quality information, very important.
So you train mentors.
We're going to be
multiply your influence throughout communities.
So you live in a community, you have a club in the community, you know that there's a parenting hub, which is just a small rack that has information on different areas that parents usually would need to access. And you know that, or Dick or Tom or Mary is a parent mentor. They'll have our IDs. We do background checks on them before training them. And
let's take a break at this point. The CEO of the National Parenting Support Commission, Dr. Patrice Charles, telling us during Parents Month about a number of things that the Commission does, how the Commission is serving you and how you can access the resources of the Commission. We'll take a break, but we'll be right back.
I'm Mario Mackenzie, Robin, captain of the Calabar High Track team. And me have a message for anybody who are planning to take the tablet them, or the government give the schoolers for use in class. You never hear so them break the tablet them. That mean anywhere the tablets there, the government can shut them down. Plus GPS tracker installing of them. And even if you find a way, and you go around all of that, the minute you go up on the internet, them are going to know. So here what you do. Just leave the youth them with the tablet. Give them a chance to further them education. Makes sense, done.
It's Parents Month, and we're talking about issues relating to parenting, such a crucial issue. The CEO of the National Parenting Support Commission, Dr. Patrice Charles, is our guest. So you're talking to us about the parent hubs, yes, and what that is supposed to do.
Well, the parent hubs is just really a smaller version, a very, very much downscaled version of the parent place. And it's found in the communities that the parent mentors live. And so they're really the ones manning the parent hub. Okay. But what's important is that the members of the parent club, they're basically the voice of the NPSC. And they're the ones that can do referrals for us in the communities. They can bring concerns to us. And they can direct individuals to us if needs be. So really,
so you'll be training these mentors,
right? And they can hold their own little mini workshops. So you have a big yard, and you have a concern in the yard. You want to help. They are going to be going into individual homes, helping parents that are at risk to set up structures in their home, set up a homework structure, set up disciplinary structures, you know, helping them to get more involved at school, and then most importantly, working with the PTAs in the schools. So they're going to be helping them to re-energize the PTAs in the schools, in their communities also.
So you would encourage individuals, Dr. Charles, or organizations, including churches, to contact you at the National Parenting Support Commission to see how persons can be recruited to be mentors, to work with the program.
Yeah, the matter of fact, our first chapter was established in Central Village at the New Testament Church of God in Central Village on November the 2nd, and it was very good. By the end of this year, we would have registered 100 members in that club.
Okay.
So and every day we get calls from churches, from communities, as I said before, and even schools.
Yes.
The PTAs wanting us to come in and speak to the parents. It's not just about fundraising anymore at the PTAs. They want to know what can we do that we can help our children to succeed more in school.
And you have about 70 odd parent places.
We have right now 93 parent places that have been established through the assistance of the USAID funds.
Okay.
And they're not in secondary schools, they're in primary schools right now. But next year we're going to be targeting 5 high schools that are in need of immediate support based on the NIA report.
That's the National Inspectorate.
Right. And so in the area of leadership and management, where parenting and community relations come under, they're in need of immediate support. So we're going to be moving into those 5 high schools. And those high schools are in regions 1, 5, and 4. Regions 1, 4, and 5, the educational regions.
You also have a thing called Street Talk. Where
Yes.
you go on the streets,
Street
literally.
talk, real talk. Yes, we are literally on the corner.
On the corner?
Yes. Our first street talk took place in Almond Town by the police station, and it was very good. I mean, we had parents that were sitting around playing dominoes, and the loudspeakers were up and they could hear us speaking, and called out a couple, and they stopped. They actually stopped, and they came around and they listened, and then they didn't go back to play dominoes. They didn't go back to gamble, which is one of the problems in that area. And that's not what they did. So, you know, it felt
So
good.
you're really reaching people, you're touching people.
Well, we're definitely hoping that we are. And based on the response to us, based on the walk-ins that's coming into us, based on the calls to come, can you come back? And based on the growing numbers of individuals that come out to hear us and stay
They
to
come
hear
out
us.
and listen.
And what's important is that they sit
true.
and
They're
listen,
interested,
and there isn't a
yes.
giveaway, you know.
So you don't have any gimmicks,
No,
really.
No.
Yeah, they want to improve the relationships with their
And they ask
with
all
their
the right
family
questions.
members.
They're asking the right questions, so you know that they're interested. Which is
And you're working with uptown people too, because uptown people have problems.
well, if you can't, parents, you know, and yes, we have gotten those calls by individuals in all different categories of their socioeconomic ladder, and yes, they need assistance too, most definitely.
And the commission is there to
help
help them
everybody.
too. Yeah, you're a counseling psychologist. You've been trained
Yes, I am.
professionally. What are the major problems you have identified as a counseling psychologist, as someone working with the commission? The major problems to do with parenting and parent-child relationships. Talk about that.
Communicating.
Communicating.
Not being able to understand the developmental stage that your child is in, and communicating to that child in an age-appropriate way. So what parents need to understand is that as your child grows, your parenting has to be flexible enough that it grows with your child. You can't treat your 16-year-old like you treat your 5-year-old, and vice versa. And so understanding how to speak to your child and being aware of the things that your child or your children or your child is going through will go a long way to improve the relationship.
Yes. What about the parent who says, "Boy, you know, girl, I get too fresh and too bright now, and I talk back and so on." How does that person deal with this?
That's the exact thing that
you know,
happened yesterday.
assertive.
that happened yesterday, and it was wonderful because the mother and the 14-year-old daughter was right in front of me, and the mother is saying the same thing. She's feisty. I can't talk to her. She's so feisty.
Yeah, fresh now.
And I looked on the daughter and I looked on the mother. Very pretty girl, you know. And I looked on the mother and I said, "She's feisty." "Yes, you can't talk to her." And I said, "So where do you think she learned it from?"
Oh.
And she looked at me and she pulled back. I said, aren't you feisty? I said, look, how do you speak
But
to your friends?
she's an adult. She suppose she has a right to be feisty.
But you see, this do as I say, not as I
That is
do
right.
mentality in Jamaica.
That's strong here.
We have to understand that with the 21st century children that
don't
we
accept
have
that.
right now, it's not going to work.
I don't accept that.
So if you're feisty, your children are feisty too.
Yeah.
Because that's what you have taught them.
Children live what they learn.
She took a breath and she said, oh, and she had to laugh. She said, and I said, when you hear her daughter speak and you hear her speak, it's the exact thing.
Yes.
And so this is what we're trying to get parents to understand. The hardest thing to do is to look at yourself. So we're going through some self-reflection now. Look at the things that you're doing and see how you're influencing your child's behavior. Because 9 out of 10 times, you're the person that's doing it.
You need to come back because we need to talk about some more of these practical examples and the practical ways in which we can help with parenting. The National Parenting Support Commission exists to serve you. You can call them. If you have difficulties at home with your children, with your parents, family difficulties, call the National Parenting Support Commission. If you see that children in your communities have problems, call them. They will give you the help. The CEO, Dr. Patrice Charles, has been our guest on Issues and Answers. Next week, we'll be back. Until then, Ian Bourne wishing you a pleasant day.
There is no vaccine for the chikungunya virus. If you've been infected, take paracetamol such as Panadol, Cetamol, and Tylenol to reduce pain and fever. Sleep under mosquito netting and get plenty of rest. Take showers or sponge baths in room temperature water to lower fever, especially in children, and drink lots of fluids to prevent dehydration. If your symptoms worsen, go and see a doctor. Do not take aspirin as this could cause bleeding, and never use rubbing alcohol. To learn more, call 1-888-1-LOVE. That's 1-888-663-5683.
There is no tolerance under the Child Care and Protection Act for physical abuse of any child. What am I saying? That a parent has no right to slap her child or his child? I don't think so. I think you can. I think there is some leeway there for discipline. But some of the abuse cases that we have seen and we have experienced, that's not discipline. That's literal hate. And if you parents can even stop sometime and think about that reason why you're going to raise your hand or that belt or that stick to hit. Sometimes it has nothing to do with what the child did, you know. It has to do with how it made you feel.
Contractor, a trailer driver, no overload. Truck overload destroys our roads. I want to say, check your speed, check your state, make sure you're not overweight. Take the time to make it safe, even if you're little late. Some of the road they leany, sinky, twisty. Truck overload destroys our roads. So drive a heavy duty vehicle on the road or the bridge. Listen the message.
A message from the Island Traffic Authority and the National Road Maintenance Fund.
Government is making continued strides in infrastructure development. A shining example is the north-south link of Highway 2000, popularly called the Mount Rossa Bypass. This new road has cut travel time significantly, resulting in big savings for motorists. Up next, some do's and don'ts as you use the road.
If you're a regular traveler to the North Coast, you would know about getting stuck on Mount Rossa Hill and waiting hours upon hours to bypass trucks that move at snail speed. The narrow, winding and sometimes treacherous journey up the steep incline has been off-putting for many persons who desire to move from one end of the island to the next. But now there's a better way to travel, the Mount Rossa Bypass.
The Mount Rossa Bypass section is part of what we call our north-south highway, which will link the south coast of Jamaica all the way through to the north coast of Jamaica. We believe when the highway is completed in 2016, this highway will change the way where Jamaicans choose to live and where they choose to work. It will also significantly impact the tourism industry by providing opportunities for visitors who now just come into the North Coast to be able to see the rest of Jamaica.
The 19.3 kilometers Mount Rosa section, which traverses some of the steepest terrain in Jamaica, has already seen Jamaicans covering what has at times been a 2-hour journey in less than 15 minutes. However, there are a number of new safety features which have been included in the design to ensure that you make the best use of the thoroughfare.
One of the many safety features of the Mount Rosa bypass section of the highway is providing guidance to heavy vehicles which are going down the hill. The sign, which is located at the top of the long decline going on to Linstead, provides truckers, especially truckers, with some maximum speeds that they are able to safely traverse the hill.
The highway features 2 southbound lanes and 3 northbound lanes, with the extra lane being a truck or climbing lane. This auxiliary lane allows slower vehicles ascending the steep grade to keep left while permitting other faster vehicles to pass without slowing down. Motorists capable of maintaining the 80 km/h speed limit can proceed in the central lane, whereas vehicles operating below this speed limit, such as loaded trucks, are encouraged to keep to the extreme left lane.
Throughout Jamaica, we've had problems with trucks which lose braking and then end up with disastrous consequences. So on Mount Rosa, we have special features where if a truck loses its brake, then it can go off into these what we call arrestor beds.
Arrestor beds or emergency escape ramps enable vehicles that are having braking problems to stop safely. The facility has been designed to accommodate vehicles as large as tractor trailers. A lay-by has been provided for motorists traveling southbound at the start of the 8% slope. This allows motorists somewhere to pull over and make precautionary checks to ensure that the vehicle's brakes are okay and or that the load they are carrying is secure. These strips have been installed as a road safety feature to alert motorists that there are potential hazards ahead, such as bends and emergency ramps. The strips cause a vibration and an audible rumbling transmitted through the wheels and into the vehicle's interior. They are also utilized on approach to the toll plaza to encourage motorists to reduce their speed. Motorists should not proceed through heavy smoke on the highway. Stop and pull over onto the verge and call the toll emergency number for assistance. Once the report has been lodged, a patrol vehicle will be dispatched. Motorists are required to follow the instructions of the patrol officer. When proceeding through fog, motorists should reduce their speed to the point that they are able to travel safely, stay in the left lane, and put on their hazard lights. Motorists are being encouraged to be prepared when traveling the Mount Rosa bypass and any thoroughfare across the island for that matter. Once the do's are practiced, the driving experience should be a pleasant one. The Mount Rosa bypass is part of the Highway 2000 project, which will ultimately connect all of our largest cities through a high-speed multi-lane tolled highway network.
The Highway 2000 overall started in 2003, and so far we have constructed approximately 70 kilometers of tolled highway. 50 kilometers from Kingston through to Maypen, including the Portmore Causeway, which we call the east-west link of the highway, and 20 kilometers which have been built to date on the north-south link of the highway. This section on the north-south link will be completed in 2016, and that will complete the connection from south to north. Once we complete that, then we'll have the final section of the highway, which will go all the way from Maypen into Montego Bay.
To find out more about the work being done under the Highway 2000 banner, contact NROC at 929-1581 or visit their website h2kjamaica.com.
Employers, tired of waiting in long lines at the tax office? Wait no further. Government is making it easier for you to pay taxes. As of January 1, 2015, file your employer's annual returns online. No lines, no hassle. Tax Administration Jamaica TAJ will be implementing the mandatory electronic filing of all employers' annual returns. So get with the program and save time and energy. For more information, call 1-888-TAX-HELP. That's 1-888-829-4357 or visit jamaicatax.gov.jm.
We here at the JIS are always pushing the road safety message. Remember, road safety begins with each of us making sensible decisions in the traffic environment. As the silly season approaches, here's a timely reminder of the rules of the road.
Ever wondered where the safest places are to cross the roads? Coming up, tips to help all of us when we walk on the roads. I'm Alison Watson, and you're watching Road Scholars.
Pedestrians are among the most vulnerable groups of road users, as traditionally, pedestrians, along with pedal cyclists and motorcyclists, have ranked high on the road fatalities list. When a pedestrian is hit by a motor vehicle, the impact and severity of injury is determined by a number of factors: the size of the vehicle, the speed at which it is traveling, the angle at which impact was made with the individual, as well as what happened when the vehicle came to a stop. All impact the outcome of the crash.
The vulnerability of those who use our roadways makes it critical for the authorities, motor vehicle operators, and pedestrians themselves to take steps to ensure their safety.
It's all a part of creating what is called a traffic-friendly environment, making provisions and instituting certain safety mechanisms, such as calculating the time span between stoplight changes to give vulnerable users more time to cross.
Pedestrians can do a lot to ensure that they use the roads safely.
Like remembering the 6 steps to use when crossing the road and using them always. Think, is it safe to cross here? Can I see clearly? And can I be seen clearly? Stop. Once you have decided to cross, stop at that spot. Look and listen. Look left and right and listen to see if traffic is approaching. Wait. Ensure the road is fully clear. Cross. Proceed briskly and carefully to the other side. And keep looking and listening. While crossing, look and listen to see if there is any approaching traffic. Some other useful guidelines include wearing light-colored clothing at night. This will allow you to be more clearly seen by other road users. Always walk on the right side of the road towards the oncoming traffic. Make full use of pedestrian crossings, signalized crossing intersections, overhead bridges and other crossing aids as much as possible. Never cross at deep corners where you cannot see vehicles approaching on either side. In areas where there is little or no sidewalk, walk as close as possible to the curb to prevent being hit, and avoid being distracted by electronic devices.
Parents are also being encouraged to teach their children some good traffic habits, starting with some simple ones.
Teach them the 6-step method of crossing the road. Tell them never to play in the streets. Accompany them to school, the playground, and other areas until they are competent enough to go by themselves. And show them the safest areas to cross the road and teach them to use crossing aids properly. It takes the commitment of everyone working together to ensure all users of the road are granted safe passage. Remember, paying attention to road safety saves time, it saves money, and it saves lives.
This is where we leave you for today. Our programs are online at jis.gov.jm. We've also got a YouTube channel, Watch JIS, and a presence on other social media platforms. Jamaica Magazine returns to your television screen tomorrow on this station. Until next time, I'm Arroyo Eubanks. Thanks for watching.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.